Hello everyone, this is Dr. Aruna Singh, Associate Professor in School of Education, Noida International University. In B.Ed second semester, we have a subject Assessment of Learning. And in this subject, today we are going to discuss third module, that is Approaches to Evaluation. Under this discussion, we will go through this outline, introduction, learning outcomes, approaches to evaluation, placement, formative, diagnostic and summative evaluation. Then in detail we will discuss placement evaluation, formative evaluation, diagnostic and summative evaluation. Then we will discuss the differences between formative and summative evaluation. Then we will see few assignments and references. Now this particular module basically it caters to discuss on various approaches of evaluation. We usually use three approaches of evaluation in assessing the student's performance at school level. And these are categorized on three different categories. That is, on the basis of types and functions of evaluation, we divide it under placement, formative, diagnostic and summative evaluation. On the basis of school practices, we divide it into internal and external evaluation. Then on the basis of nature of reference, we divide this as norm reference and criterion reference evaluation. So after completing this module, you will be able to explain first category very well, that is placement evaluation, formative, diagnostic and summative evaluation. And you will be able to distinguish between formative and summative evaluation. Now first we will see what is assessment process. Assessment is conducted at different phases of teaching learning process in the school, and we carry out assessment before beginning of the teaching learning process, during the teaching learning process and at the end of the instructional process. So at three levels we assess students: at the beginning of the teaching learning process, during teaching learning process and at the end of the instructional process. And approaches of assessment on the basis of its types and functions is classified under four categories, that is placement, assessment or evaluation, formative assessment, diagnostic and summative. Each of these four types of assessment serves different purposes, and in the teaching learning process, assessment starts with the placement assessment and ends with summative assessment. All four types of assessments are important and unique in their functions. Okay, before discussing them separately, let us understand what are the functions of evaluation. Why do we conduct them? Why we need these evaluation processes and different levels in the teaching learning process? First is placement evaluation. Placement evaluation is done to know the entry behavior of the student, and that's why it is conducted before instructional process. Then, okay, after completing, so students, after going through this before instructional process, we come to the next process, that is during instructional process. And in this process, we assess two evaluations, that is formative evaluation to know the mastery in the content, and second is diagnostic evaluation, that means to solve learning difficulties. These are the functions of these evaluations which we conduct during different stages of teaching learning process. And what is evaluated after instructional process, that is summative evaluation. And this we do to to certify that how many objectives and how much of teaching learning objectives which we set before teaching plan we have achieved. Now we will go through all these evaluations one by one. First is placement evaluation. As we just discussed that it is conducted before instructional process. This is placement evaluation can be defined as a type of evaluation that provides information to the teachers about the learners to whom he or she deals with relating to existing knowledge and experiences based on that the teacher designed to teach new knowledge. Placement evaluation is conducted before undertaking teaching learning activities. It is basically used to measure the entry behavior or the existing behavior or the previous knowledge of the learners. Another purpose of placement evaluation is to know whether the learner is able to acquire the new learning experiences based on his or her previous knowledge. Right? All types of entrance examinations are the examples of placement evaluation. Ideas on previous knowledge is required to provide new knowledge to the learners. And different tools can be used for conducting placement evaluation. In the teaching learning process, before teaching new topic, a teacher should know the previous knowledge of students. This helps teacher to organize teaching learning activities according to the previous knowledge of the learners. The technique of introducing a lesson by asking certain questions from the previous knowledge of student is related to the topic taught or by any other technique linking, demonstrating something. Maybe the technique may be telling a new story, doing role play, etc. These are also there are also the examples of placement evaluation. In other way, conducting a type of entrance examination for selecting learners to particular course is also the example of placement evaluation. Now, second is formative evaluation, which is very important, and this is conducted during the instructional process after the planning, which we have already done in placement evaluation. According to Scriven in 1991, formative evaluation is typically conducted during the development or improvement of program or product, and it is conducted often more than once for in-house staff of the program with the extent to improve. That means it is used to know the learning process, and it is conducted on short intervals of time. During class of half an hour, it can be conducted after 10 minutes, after 15 minutes. The feedback questions, we can say, it is a continuous in nature and it helps learners for enhancing their learning. Varieties of activities, tools and techniques are used in formative evaluation. Formative evaluation, as we just discussed, is considered as the second stage of assessment which is conducted during teaching learning process. First stage of assessment is placement assessment. Formative evaluation starts from the very beginning of designing instructions and it continues till the end of the course. Conducting unit tests, monthly tests, midterm tests, quarterly exams, these are all the examples of formative evaluation. And these all exams are conducted, tests are conducted to provide feedback to the teachers to know the effectiveness of their teaching and modifications if required. The learner come to know the progress of their own learning, and it also provides scope for diagnostic evaluation, which is the next step in the evaluation process. Let us also discuss the salient features of formative evaluation. It builds on the prior knowledge and experiences of the learners and it ensures learner-friendly assessment. Right? It helps in enhancing the learning abilities of the learner. It provides scope for the use of variety of activities and various tools and techniques for promoting holistic development of the learners. It ensures learning in a non-threatening and supportive environment. It provides descriptive feedback to children for realizing their strengths and weaknesses. It provides a chance to the learners to reflect on their performances, and it realizes the role of motivation and self-esteem of students' learning. It encourages learners to understand their criteria, parameters that have been used to judge their performance. It helps learners to actively and continuously engage in learning process, and it provides feedback, which is very important in teaching learning process. It provides feedback to the teachers to use teaching strategies, to change their teaching strategies if required as per the needs of the learners. After formative evaluation, we have diagnostic evaluation. Diagnostic evaluation is conducted along with formative evaluation during the instructional process. That's why both of these evaluations are kept in the same criteria, same category, that is during instructional process. It is carried out based on the data obtained from formative evaluations. Diagnostic evaluation is specially conducted to identify and remove the learning difficulties of the learner if it is observed during formative evaluation. That's why they go simultaneously. First, we come to know about the learning difficulties of the student during the feedback which we get from the uh, formative evaluation. Then we try to rectify. We first we identify, then we remove those learning difficulties. Let's say there is an example: if a learner has not understood certain concepts in a particular subject and is continuously performing poor in the same subject, then it is very much important to conduct diagnostic tests to know the cause, that where he is lacking, what are the difficulties he is facing, and after knowing this, we can provide remedial treatment to the learner to overcome those difficulties. So the key word in diagnostic evaluation is assessment or assessing the learning difficulties. It goes simultaneously with formative evaluation. This is very much clear. Then it identifies personal, educational, physical and psychological difficulties. All these difficulties are included. If the student is not able to learn certain concept, then various factors may play a role in for this, right? Then we can provide remedial measures. It helps the teacher to achieve equity among the learners. How to achieve the equity among the learners? As it helps the teacher to understand learners in a better way. Okay, now let us come to the third phase and fourth evaluation, that is summative evaluation. Summative evaluation, as we discussed, that it is conducted after instructional process. It is used to find out the extent to which the instructional objectives have been achieved at the end of the terminal period. It is used primarily for assigning course grades, right, or for certifying student mastery of the intended learning outcomes at the end of a particular program. So it is used to know whether the learning objectives or learning outcomes have been achieved or not. The techniques used for summative evaluation are determined by the instructional objectives. For this evaluation, there are external as well as teacher-made tests used. Although the main purpose of summative evaluation is assigning grades or marks, it also provides information for judging the appropriateness of course objectives and the effectiveness of the instructions. It sums up how much a student has learned over a period of time, as the exams are conducted at the end of the terminal. It contributes overall grading and certification of the learner. It provides terminal feedback both to the teachers as well as students, and grading and certification is a key term which is used in summative evaluation. Now let us discuss the differences between formative and summative evaluation. There are various parameters I have mentioned, and on the basis of these parameters, we can discuss the differences. First is time of use. Formative assessment, formative evaluation, this is used during the process of instruction, and summative evaluation is used at the end of the term or semester or year. What is the purpose? Purpose of formative evaluation is to know the progress and mastery of learning, to provide feedback both to the learners and teachers, to provide data for summative evaluation. In summative evaluation purpose is to certify and grade the learners, to provide feedback to the learners for further study. It includes formative evaluation. Right? Summative is broader, which includes formative also. Then learning objectives. Learning objectives are related with the topic taught for formative assessment, and this is limited in its scope. Whereas summative are related with the objectives of the course and the program on the broader view, and they are very vast in nature. Next parameter is process. In process, formative evaluation is done by classroom observation. It can be conducted through oral and written teacher-made tests, by conducting peer and group assessments. Mostly, this is internal in nature. It supports criterion reference evaluation. Then, formative evaluation is usually a quick evaluation. If we talk about summative, then we can conduct this by conducting term and examinations. They are mostly external in nature. By conducting mostly written type of exams, we can do the summative evaluation by using teacher-made as well as standardized tests. It supports norm reference evaluation, and output of formative evaluation can be used in summative evaluation. Now, next parameter is tools and techniques. For formative assessment, there are varieties of assessment tools and techniques like text, questionnaire, scale, schedule, checklists, portfolios, quiz, debate and discussions, role plays, dramatization, and many other activities based on the requirement or the demand of the topic. But for summative evaluation, it can only be conducted through written tests, paper pencil test. Now, next parameter is product. In formative evaluation, it enables learner to know their progress in learning difficulties they face and the ways to remove those difficulties. It enables the learners for their continuous and comprehensive development. And summative evaluation product is award and certify the learners, make them enable and eligible to pursue further educational courses and programs. Now, these are few questions based on the discussion of this video. So, what do you understand by formative evaluation? What is the concept of summative evaluation? And explain the difference between formative and summative evaluation. These are few references which I have used to prepare this.